Okay,
All
we
right.
are live.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Calling the meeting to order. It's 2 p.m. Hawaii time, April 1st, 2026. This is the Tax Review Commission, and this meeting was provided appropriate public notice under the Sunshine Law of the state of Hawaii. Next, I'll call the roll. Same as previous times, we'll announce we're present and state whether we're unaccompanied in the room. All right, I'm going to call the roll this time in jumbled order. So first up, Jessica Enos.
Present, and I'm by myself in the room.
Great. Cool. John Yasuda.
Present and in my office alone.
Cool. Vice Chair Judy Chalk.
I'm present and I'm alone in the office.
Cool. Jeffrey Uyoka.
Present, alone in my office. Thank you.
Great. Stacy Katakura. Excused. Jonathan White. I'm here and I'm alone in here in this office. And Mark Fukunaga.
Present and alone in my room.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. That's 6 of 7. That's a quorum. Thanks for being here. I know it was hard for some of y'all with the short turnaround for this meeting. Really appreciate it. Next up, communications to the commission and public comment. Bybars, do we have any communications to the commission?
There were no written testimony received, no emails either, and I'm checking the chat box. If any of the participants would like to have any comments, or please do indicate it in the comment section, in the chat section.
Yep, we'll take comments live or written beforehand. Information about that's on the TRC webpage, which is hosted on the Department of Tax webpage. Not hearing anything. So let's move on. And let's consider the minutes from the prior meeting. The minutes are part of the meeting materials provided and placed on the webpage. There's also the recording of the meetings that's available via link on the webpage. And I believe members have had an opportunity to comment on the minutes and make changes. If you haven't had that chance yet, let us know. We'll make time for that. So are there any changes to the minutes from last meeting? All right. I don't have any either. Any issues accessing the minutes or requests for more time? All right. So I'm not hearing anything. So let's, if y'all don't mind, let's vote on approving the minutes. So I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the prior meeting.
So moved.
Cool. Thanks, Jeff. And I guess we still need a second.
I second.
Appreciate it. All right. Any discussion? All right, cool. All in favor of approving the minutes from last time? Raise hand. Cool. That's everybody. So that motion passes. Thanks. Okay. Next up, right back into it. Discussion of hiring consultants. The idea is I think is to get some language together for whatever we're going to call this, request for a proposal or some sort of request for services. I think Emil and Bybars department staff have some information on that. I kind of have an idea of trying to set this up where we'll have at least 2 vendors do the work. And the idea behind that is to maybe they can get it done faster rather than having one with a huge remit. So I'm going to keep that in mind as we're discussing it, and feel free to push back on that if you don't like it. The other thing is, I want to say this, if UHERO can help us out, having 2 separate things might help with their ability to get to yes on being able to do it. And I don't know anybody over there, and I don't know anything about that. So if anybody knows something I don't know, let us know, and we might be able to craft one of them toward their strengths or toward the different vendor strengths.
Jonathan, I know Carl Bonham well. I'm happy to, meet with him, with anybody else who wants to be in the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. That'd be excellent. I think from for now, and it's also great that you're on the selection committee already anyway. This would be separate from that, as we know. UHERO will be outside that system. But if anybody does want to be involved, if Mark reaches out to Carl, I'd like to keep it at 2 people total, because I think I don't know if it's the magic number is 2 or if the magic number is 3, but whatever it is, it's less than a quorum, 2 or less, or we get into some issues. So I think that's excellent. If there's no objection, I think that'd be great if Mark could do that. And if anybody wants to meet, join that with Mark, let him know now or separately. I think we can do that separately after the meeting, or just email him or something. Is that cool, Mark?
Yeah, great, Jonathan.
Good deal. Thank you. So we can keep that in mind as we're looking at some language today, for what might interest them or be more palatable to them, or more within their capacity. Okay. So what I did to prepare for this, I did put some language down in a Word document. I'm happy to share that, and we can work off that. But I don't want that to crowd out the discussion. So does anybody have any language to propose? Has anybody sort of crafted a prompt or anything, or some specifics or anything like that? The other thing, and I can share that document that might push us to focus us and stuff. Y'all mind if I share that? All right, cool. I'm seeing some nods. So I'm going to try to share my screen in a minute. Who knows it's going to work. But this is not a document that's been posted on the website, and this is not something that I've discussed with the other members or anybody else. I wanted to get something on paper so we're not staring at a blank page. So that's the background of this document. This has not been discussed. So let's see. Here we go. Okay. What can y'all see?
Yeah, we do see your Word document.
You see the Word document says project
Yes.
1 and then competitiveness. Okay, cool.
Yes.
There might be a way to zoom in your software if you can't see it. But I'm gonna introduce this document. I'm just gonna scroll through it briefly so you can see what there is. So I've got project 1 and I've got 2 prompts. I've got project 2 and then another 2 prompts, and I have some language stolen from the 2015 to 2017 request for professional services that they used, that you'll see as well. So you'll recognize some of this. Competitiveness, this came up, asking a vendor to consider the competitiveness of Hawaii's tax system and how to make it more competitive. I thought this was a good one and an opportunity to be creative. Matter of fact, I think we could add that to the prompt, that this is an opportunity to be creative. I did add some limiters, some must includes, and then the limiters there at the bottom to, consider the stability and variety of what we have and what we might propose, and then balanced budget, of course, and then the department's resources. Happy to add to that. And I think that what I have here and for the rest of them is probably enough. It's enough for us to discuss today, and add to that, but it's probably not enough as a final request to go out. So that might be up to us today, and it might be up to the selection committee and the department staff behind the scenes to put a little more meat on these. So I split this one up with the tourism one. This is something Stacy brought up, the effect on the TAT rate increases on visitor numbers. And so I did sort of a similar thing, what we expect, or what we would expect it to have as a minimum. And then key language there at the bottom, I'm going to highlight it. can. That applicants are invited to submit bids on one of these or both of these. So even within this one, we could get an applicant apply for just one or both. Or two separate ones, one for one and one for both, something like that. So going down to the second one, and that language is taken not verbatim, but from the 2015 one where they invited applicants to consider bidding on the whole thing or bidding on pieces of it or applying for pieces of it. So project 2, I have state resiliency and the housing affordability one. These are getting into where I didn't really know what to write, even less so than I did on the ones on the first page. So this climate change resiliency came up. So I put together some language on this one. And this is just to start discussion. And then the affordability one. And this one, I put some terms on here that have been put out there, but I don't really know what some of the terms mean. So again, this is for purposes of discussion and for y'all to help me, for us to all get together today and put some more detail on or scrap altogether. And then at the bottom, the same thing, applicants are invited to submit bids on both. The other option, we can make this all one and then write something like applicants are encouraged to submit bids on no more than 2 or something like that. I mean, they could always submit for all of them if they want to, but that would be a way to kind of push toward our my goal of having at least 2 people going forward or doing the work. I'm gonna scroll down a little more. Now, there's other things that we didn't completely discuss, whether we want to submit certain things to as a question to a consultant or not. So I didn't make a decision on that. That's not what this is meant to be. This is meant to be put some detail, to get some detail on the page, so we're not staring at a blank page again. But the credits exemptions question had come up. I don't know if that's something we can do on our own or if that's something we want to submit to a consultant. And then the retirement income one, I actually wrote that up with some bullet points as if I was going to include it. And then I moved it down here. I don't know about that one either. I think for that one specifically, I think we have the expertise and the knowledge on the commission to handle. And then a couple we had pretty much decided to handle on our own is the regressivity, to kind of look at the old reports, and then the long-term care financing project, which is still, I didn't actually check that bill, so I don't know if that bill's live or not, but we have time on that. So I'm gonna scroll back up now. Don't get seasick. Actually, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit more and show you, this is what last times looked like, just to give you an idea. This is from 2015 to 2017, and you can see how much more prose is here than in the bullet points I did. So this is 1, 2, and 3. There's 3. So a lot more in terms of description than I've got on here. So just another way of saying the same thing. I'm not intending to crowd everybody out by making this document. All right, I'm gonna scroll back up to the top and we can dive in. I'll leave it shared for now. See if I can. All right. Any reaction to that?
So I have
Hey.
a question. Oh, sorry.
Please.
Go ahead.
Judy, please.
If the proposals, they show different strengths. I mean, you show the different topics, but can the procurement allow multiple awards or just one award?
I don't know the answer to that one. If I think the question is it possible that we could see 2 proposals come in and say, wow, these guys are coming at the same question from 2 different angles. We like it. We like kind of like both. Is that possible, or is it like one for each? Because I get it. We're inviting, multiples from, combinations and stuff. So that's just filibustering for Bybars and Emil to maybe think about that one.
Emil, do you want to answer that? Or I mean, the thinking is for each project there would be one person or one company answering such question. I think the reasoning for giving multiple projects in one place was also to maybe garner more applications. So when we discuss the specifics, it will become clear that when you do a request for professional services, you need a minimum of 3 applicants. If it's $100,000 or more, it can be under 100,000. If it's under 100,000, then it can be 2 applicants, but that's going to be the minimum needed. But we'll discuss the specifics. I think that's part of the reason to maybe encourage more applicants and then break it down. And then Emil, would the different projects, would they have different award amounts? I mean, how would that work? Would you be able to answer that now, or you need more time?
The way it looks like, if
Mhm.
it's 2 separate projects, then it's 2 separate solicitations. I'm sensing both are unique as far as what needs to be done for each one. If that's the case, then it would be 2 solicitations.
Okay. Yeah, because what Jonathan was talking about is in 2015, 2017, they had 3 projects, and they said you can do part of this, you can do just project 1, or you can do both projects 1 and 2, or you can do any combination of them. And then is that even a possibility to be able to?
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's never heard of that one before. Maybe I can consult with
Yeah,
SPO on that. Yeah, that's
right,
the
right.
unusual one. Okay.
So that might be more the process, I guess, questions. But that seems like that's what they did, at least in the 2015, 2017, that request itself.
Let me, I'm going to dwell on this a moment. Judy, is your question whether we can have 2 winners and therefore 2 vendors for a single project? Is that your question?
My question probably is like, I guess the 2 different topics, more lean towards the
okay.
2 different topics. Yeah, not the same topic.
Okay, cool. Understood. Mark, I think you're up next.
Yeah. Hey, Jonathan, thank you for doing this. I think this is terrific to kind of frame this, kind of focus all of us. So thanks for taking the time. You know, my my reaction is, you know, I like the competitiveness one, particularly if we don't turn it into like cut taxes to grow the economy kind of thing, and we just say same taxes, but how do we do it better? I kind of think the credit question, tax credit question, is kind of tied to this too, because it's as part of a competitive tax system, credits do play a role in it, you know, and the businesses you want to support. But, you know, I'm not sure we do it in the right way. I'm not sure this just generally we do it in a strategic way. So that would be, I think, maybe part of the competitiveness discussion. I think I also volunteered the climate change one, and the more I think about it, I think that's just too far afield from the Tax Review Commission. I think there's just a lot of non-tax research that has to go into quantifying the cost of resilience and all kinds of public policy issues of moving people away from the shore. And I think it's super important. I just don't think it's necessarily what this commission should focus on. You know, I think other people out there who are looking at it. And last, I would say on the housing one, I suspect that, you know, that one may be around tax increment financing, which I believe is the way the stadium project is supposed to get financed. And I suspect as a result, there's going to be a lot of separate study on that issue. Because as I understand it, you may need to amend the state constitution to do tax increment financing, or at least I heard something like that. And if that's the case, there are going to be a bunch of other folks kind of, you know, studying the issue and going back and forth on it. I don't know if my understanding is correct, but that's what I had heard.
All right, I'll react to the first one, and then I want to open up to everybody to react to the rest of it. The first thing about the credits, I think that's a good point. I didn't think about that. So I can move that up and kind of make that part of it, add some bullet points. I think that is a really good point, and can allow them to, whatever vendor it is, to consider if the volume and the cost of credits and exemptions right now is targeted toward what we're talking about, encouraging economic growth and stuff like that. So any other reaction to that? Because I'm in favor of adding that to the competitiveness one.
Yeah, so I actually was trying to think up some verbiage for this, this question thing too. And I actually had the tax credit kind of tied into the competitiveness topic. And I kind of just pulled up like the Schedule CR, just trying to look at all the credits that are out there and kind of which credits I think are designed or intended to boost economy, and I guess help locals stay here, I guess would be the low income housing things. And so I kind of came up with this, like, to evaluate the effectiveness and competitiveness. And I sort of did like of the following credits on boosting economy and making Hawaii a place where locals can stay and survive financially. And I think of the credits, I was looking at film, enterprise zone, low income housing, and opportunity zone. Opportunity zone is more of a federal credit, but I think like, all the states have their own zones, and I don't know like what the impact of that is, if it's doing anything in those areas. And we have like enterprise zone credits that are designed to boost the economies in those particular areas too. That's more of a state credit, and but it's limited to certain businesses, and I don't know, is it doing what it's intended, and I think state by state, like, I don't know if states have enterprise zone, but they have opportunity zones. And so, the competitive, like what we've chosen, how everybody else is doing it, where's the investments, like, are we doing pretty good comparatively, something like that in boosting our economies. And I guess, yeah, that like low income housing, like how is it doing its job of like, is it affordable to the people that they can stay, and how is that working out? And film, because there's a bunch of different states that have film also, so competitively, how do we compare with that? And so I kind of had, that was one of my things that I teed up, and I kind of tied that into the competitive end.
Excellent. So I'm hearing kind of some support for that. I'm not hearing any objection to making that part.
Yeah.
For this one. Excellent.
Just tie some credits into it.
So what I want to avoid with identifying specific credits is we might need to have a look again at what the legislative auditor was tasked with doing a few years ago, and they're doing like gradually, piece by piece, looking at all the credits and exemptions. Is either cite to that and say something distinct from that, or crafting our prompts so we're not asking the vendor to do what the ledge is having the legislative auditor do, because they have been looking at them. But I think that we have an opportunity to have them look at it in a different light.
Yeah,
so,
I would
so
think it's a different lens.
Yeah. So I guess my question would be, are you thinking to list the credits as like, you know, including but not limited to these credits, or and so they would work that into like the overall sort of competitiveness, you know, score
Yeah,
analysis
something like that, because the other ones that
Not- versus credit by credit. Like, would you be looking for like a section on low income housing tax credit and a section on film credit? And
I guess maybe taking these into consideration. I mean, the only other one there is like R&D, but I don't know if that's
well,
so much.
I think listing some and saying, you know, not limited to, that allows
Yeah,
the
not
vendor
limited to that.
they can use their imagination.
Yeah.
And also, I think that would
Mm.
be not vague, but it would be specific enough, but it wouldn't be so specific that it's basically requesting a like paragraph by paragraph, like this is the film credit and it's this compared it's this effective, this is the R&D, this is the LIHTC, because I think that's going to look a little bit too much like what the legislative auditor's doing. So they'll look at all these and like they'll probably highlight one or two to make their points, is what I'm hoping we can prompt them to do rather than go one by one. And they'll probably, hopefully, if some of these have been covered, they'll use the legislative auditor's reports to get started. Okay, so I'm developing a plan for later, and that is that in a minute, in a little while, we'll take our break, and I think I'm gonna try to write a bunch of this into the document, and then I'll share it after the break. I'm writing a bunch of stuff down, but I don't want to do that thing where I sit here and type with the screen with the document shared. It just gets really meticulous. Any other does anybody have any other reaction to that one? I think that's some excellent changes to the competitiveness one. I want to, if not, anybody? I want to hear y'all's reaction to the climate change part too, so don't forget that. Go ahead, Jessica, you look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, that as I was like analyzing all the comments before this meeting, I did think that was kind of a reach for us to kind of like Mark said. So I did like things that I thought, you know, like PV credit, I think is so that we can, you know, have more PV. And so I kind of, yeah, I think the climate, that might be a little bit more challenging for us to address, I think. So I did kind of drop that idea. But yeah, the other thing I did have was to evaluate the effectiveness of our income tax structure with like how we have those earned income tax credits and low income renters credits and the food excise credits, because I feel like those amounts been the same for a while, and just is it, I guess its impact on or how effective it is on trying to minimize the impact of the regressive nature of the GT on the low income population. If those amounts need to be adjusted or anything, or is it doing anything, or?
So that first I want to excuse me, hang on. With my screen shared, I don't know how to mute myself. There it is. I want to react to your reaction to Mark's thing. I kind of had the same thought. I'm nervous about the climate change thing because I mean, I actually put in language here. This study should not focus on ways to reverse climate change because it's not, that's like a global, like, you know, that's a global thing. Little old Hawaii is
Not a
not going
tax
to move,
issue.
not going to move the needle. And it also is not a tax issue. So, so I'm with you on that. There's a possibility we could add one line item to one of the others to competitiveness or something. So they might say that there might be some conclusion about, without getting bogged down, hopefully, that on the horizon, climate change could affect competitiveness on the horizon or something like that. But I'm kind of with y'all on it being maybe a little far afield. Okay, I'm not seeing any objection. Okay, so that makes it a little bit makes the whole thing a little bit narrower. Oh yeah, so the EITC and the low income renters credit and fundable food excise tax credit and all that, and the effect on regressivity. I'm not. Do we want to? I thought we decided last time not to submit that to a vendor, but kind of study that on our own. Look at the old reports. I think that we can. I'm seeing some nods. I think we can ask. I think we can look at that and see what the past said. I think they will have said increase those amounts. EITC is pretty new, so it's probably not been considered yet. I think that and Bybars can stop me if I'm crazy, but I think Bybars staff and Bybars and his staff can help with that, putting together some numbers and revenue estimates about if the amounts do go up and stuff like that. And so that'll give us an idea of the effect that increasing the numbers could have. If that's
Yeah, that works.
That
If
works.
we already have the info, that's fine.
Okay. I think I just like the retirement income one. I think that's one where we have the knowledge on the commission and with the staff, especially with Bybars and them, to do some good without having to have it covered again. It's been covered multiple times.
Okay.
Cool. But I mean, once we do this, we're going to need some stuff to work on too, while we're waiting for the report to come back.
So we can look at that.
Yeah, good
Whatever.
to have some
yeah,
stuff to do.
info.
And
And the retirement info, I guess.
yeah, that one too. I want to
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
There's
gonna
a-
confirm what Jonathan said. Yes, we can provide that information, and even if a consultant were hired, they would have to come to us to provide them that information because they would not have access to confidential data. Like we would have to do it for them. So, and then as Jonathan mentioned, also like in the meantime, after the process is moving forward, we can still continue to make periodic presentations, do revenue estimates, provide data, look at what has been already done, discuss existing legislature. It's still, there's like some of these tax credits have been expanded by Governor Green in 23, but they're about to be sunset, in 2027. There are various proposals to extend them and things like that. So yeah, so we can provide that information. So it's part of our job anyway, and definitely can save some time on the ask from the consultants. So
okay. Cool. Thanks, Bybars. So I want to I've got the housing affordability. That's the fourth part of the 4 I had on here. I heard some comments earlier. This is the one I was talking about where I don't really know I didn't really know where to start and how to write this up. I mean, this is another one Stacy brought up, so I don't know. I don't know if I want to. It's up to y'all, I guess. I don't know if I want to make a firm decision on not having a vendor look at this one or not. But do y'all think this is something?
So,
I'll go ahead, Jeff, please.
so this, I don't understand all the other stuff you guys are talking about, but I do deal in this realm regularly. So housing affordability is basically the LIHTC, like Jessica brought up. And that fund has been increasingly used more and more, and it's kind of no affordable housing project moves forward without a LIHTC application and a separate rental housing revolving fund and some kind of DERF. It's basically, it needs government subsidy to move forward. So would be interesting to have a consultant look at the low income housing tax credit program. And generally speaking, for a LIHTC project, Jessica, it's 60% and below of area and median income it needs to serve. And usually it's a 60-year period of affordability. and there's often a, an opportunity in there like 30 years in to re-up everything to allow for new capital to come in to rehabilitate the project, because generally speaking, a building term is around 30 years and before it needs some major infrastructure overhaul. And associated with this, there's the county GET, the surcharge under HRS 46-16.8. I believe that's supposed to sunset in 2030. So I don't know, that's also a surcharge. I think it goes to rail on Oahu, but on the neighbor islands, or I don't know what the proper term is to use, sister islands, whatever, it's goes more towards housing infrastructure type roads, that type of stuff. I think it's, don't quote me on it, but I know like a couple counties, like Big Island and Kauai or something, it can be used for roads. Maui, it can't be. So it's just kind of goofy in that sense too. But just looking at the impact of that on affordable housing on, other, I guess doesn't really work for Oahu, but the other counties. Sorry, kind of long-winded, but that was my thoughts.
Okay. So for now, when we, first of all, any reaction to that from anybody else?
I
I
mean,
do think
great.
it is important. Sorry, that was it.
Go ahead.
Mark.
I was just going to ask Jeff. It's a good point, Jeff. Is there? I guess the question for me is who else is looking at this? I mean, you got a couple of legislative ledge committees on housing. I just wonder if they're also looking at it, and is it more than the LIHTC, or is it specifically around LIHTC in your view?
There's so many facets of that, funding, but I guess LIHTC is literally the tax credit. So, I thought that would be the most, relative to this process, but there's probably other stuff I just don't know about because I really don't get involved in the financing side. I'm kind of on the, I'm more on the development side, but I know it exists. I know it's very important, and I guess would be interesting to do a study of the efficacy of it. What is all this tax credit really doing for the state's affordable housing problem?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I wonder who, I mean, it's such a huge problem. You would think there are other people studying this. I just don't want to duplicate whatever they're doing. But I agree with you. It's really important.
Yeah, I think it's a federal credit that gets doled out, and there's a house, there's an office here and all that. So to Mark's point, there's probably some mega resources out there about that. So if I mean, it's possible that, and I'm definitely interested in this, if whether, the effect it has in Louisiana might be fantastic, but the effect it has in Hawaii, it might not be the same, and there might be some ways to improve the leverage of it or something. But I mean, if it's a federal credit, then you don't turn that down or change the policy, saying so. So is there any other reaction to that one? I think, go ahead, Jessica, please.
Can we, so could this roll up into that first competitiveness part of that also with the credits and, low income housing, and just, I guess, how effective is it comparatively to other states? And I know it's a federal credit, but just the administration of it too, like, I guess to the developers, like, is it easier to get here? Is it harder? Is it, I don't know.
It definitely could roll up into that competitiveness one. My hesitation is because I want to keep these bite size enough to all but ensure that we get 2 vendors at least. So it'll speed. I think that'll speed things up. I mean, and what's given me such anxiety is that when you look at the 15 to 17 commission, that's the last one that hired a consultant in this way. They engaged the consultant in February of the year, and they got the report in November. So it takes time. If it's this big mega report, it takes forever. So something a little more bite-sized, I think. There's a joke about contractors and people that manage contractors, and I'm not going to tell the joke, but I'm falling into that trap. But I think with multiple vendors, we can get 2 separate products a little faster. So what I'm hearing is an appetite for this topic from several of y'all. And I want Stacy to have a say as well. So it hurts me to do this, but I think we might have to table this question and make a decision later, because I want Stacy to have a say on this. Please, Jeff.
Working backwards from when the report's due, when should we tell these vendors that this is when you owe us the information?
Yeah,
I think that'll be important to and probably factor into whether or not they take the contract, because
for sure.
I hate when I have a deadline from a consultant and I don't get my information on time.
Yeah, that's something we got to discuss. Whether how much flexibility we have to and how aggressive we can get with our dates for when we expect something. It's also possible. I think it's regular that we'll get that the commission or whoever it is will get a product, an early product, and then a intermediate and a final. So that November date's scary, but I think they probably had something they could work with and start kind of digesting and working into their own report before that. But that is a fantastic question that we're going to get to. I think, but that's something we need to be thinking about. The smaller, more bite-sized they are, I think the earlier we can put that date comfortably. So I want to ask about this. For this one, if it's possible, when we go on break, I know it's supposed to be a break, we'll do a 15-minute break instead of 10. Jeff, if you'll write down, add to this one, and then we could reshare that, so we'll have something else on paper, and then like I said, we'll have to decide on this one. The others, I think, we got a clear path forward, but this one I'm not sure about. So the other thing I'm going to do during the break is I'm going to update that competitiveness one, and come back with some additional language on that, adding the credits or adding the credits and stuff to it. So one more thing, I want to scroll down real fast, and so I've got some language here for the retirement income question. We didn't determine for sure last time if this is something that should be submitted to a vendor or not. So John, you mentioned this one. Any reaction to what you see on the screen? Is that kind of what you had in mind? And is this something that you had in mind to work on as the commission or to submit to a vendor?
I thought this was probably something we could do as a commission, because I think Bybar said he's got they got the data at the tax office, so probably something we could work on without not through a vendor.
Okay, cool. One less thing, and I agree with that. Is there any other reaction to that? To kind of doing this in-house.
Yeah.
All right. One last thing. One last thing for the proposal for the vendor. So we also have on our agenda today. Let me bring that back up. I think to hear from Bybars and Emil about the procedure for hiring consultants. So if y'all don't mind, we could change gears and listen and kind of be off the hook for a little while. And then we'll go on break come back and get back into it. So Bybars, do you and Emil have anything to share with this?
I think the way we kind of looked at it was just you might have questions, and then it would be more like a question and answer. The one thing that you know, behind the scenes, some procedural, you know, about the procedures, we've been talking about a request for proposal, but the thing that we discovered is in the past, none of the consultants hired was through that process. And so I worked with Emil, he did his research, and we kind of tried to come up with pros and cons of doing the research request for proposals versus like a notice for professional services, which was the format done before. As I said, the professional services one, the I guess the con is compared to the RFP is that you need typically 3 minimum applicants. So if there's concern that there may not be enough applicants, that would be a thing. The con for the RFP approach is that it must be posted for at least a month, and then there's this requirement that they need to have a general liability insurance, the vendors, of at least $1 million. And typically, you know, if you're hiring an economist, maybe a professor at the university, they will not have such a insurance. So that got me worried. They will not also probably be on the Hawaii's e-procurement system. And, you know, it's not the type of contractor that typically comes to mind when you are trying to hire a contractor. So that's why it made me think maybe the reason why the previous commissions went through the route of hiring, you know, requests for professional services was maybe because of this reason, a little more flexibility. And there's no requirement for this general liability insurance. And it can be only posted for 10 business days as opposed to a whole month. So a little more flexibility. But, you know, I just that's more procedural, as I said. And that it's something to consider. It might be a reason also to break it up. Because if it's under 100,000, then you need only 2 minimum applicants. So I think that could be more achievable. And there still needs to be some active solicitation, as Mark suggested, so that, you know, people are not going to be sitting around and waiting for us to put proposals out there. You know, it's good to actively solicit people and invite people to apply for the whatever proposal is put out there in the end.
All right. Oh, I got a question. I'll steal Jeff's question. Does either one limit us on like the contract length of time, or like the minimum amount of time that the contract we enter into has to be open? Like, does one say we can't set a absolute due date shorter than this many months or something like that?
Yeah, Emil,
my-
could you answer that?
The way it appears, for the professional services, in terms of the solicitation, the SPO, there's no real time limit for it to be up, not like the RFP where it has to be out for a month. So there's no time limit for that, but SPO suggests at the minimum it can be as short as 10 business days if you want to put it up for solicitation.
And project deadline, is there a limit? It can be 3 months, 6 months, like the deadline. I think that was more Jonathan's question.
It's basically what there's from what I know, there's no limit for that on the contract wise. It all depends on what you folks require on your scope of work.
Okay. Is that something that is what is the scope of negotiation that happens after with this, the evaluation committee or whoever, after, you know, applicants come in with stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like do they come in with something that's take it or leave it, or is there some negotiation that happens, and can that negotiation include the due date?
So with the professional services, there is negotiations. Well, whatever proposals come in, or whatever proposals come in, the committees would basically rank them, pre-qualify them first, and then rank them number one, number two, number three, or however many applicants that you have. And you start off with the first ranking one, and you actually talk to them and have negotiations with them and come up with a contract amount. And there's no time limit on that. But if you don't come to any type of agreement, then you have to terminate it with that first on the list, and then you go on to the second one. So it's very systematic. There's
All
no
right.
time limit from what I know.
All right. And I didn't see like in the 2015 to 2017 one, I didn't see the due date for the final report in there.
Yes, that's correct.
So I'm thinking that might be something that can happen at the negotiation time.
Yes, yes.
So like if we put something out and it's like for example, what we have now, we've got two projects, two things each. Like if somebody goes for both of them and we negotiate with them, it might be 6 months. But if somebody goes for just one of them, we can negotiate and say, can you get us something in 3 months, is what I'm getting at.
I see. I see. As
Is
far
that-
as with the negotiations, there's no time limit. But now, this is something unusual where you're speaking to two different vendors for two different projects in a way.
Mhm.
So that I just probably we need clarity from the procurement office on that.
Okay, no problem. Okay, but I guess I'm thinking that for what we produce today, and again, I've already said the housing thing, we might have to revisit, but we might not have to sort that due date stuff today. Judy, please.
I just want to ask, how can we control the budget? I know we have 200,000. What if the contractor go over the budget, and how can we control that? Make sure it's not over the budget.
I'll filibuster a second, but I noticed in the last one they had the number in there, so they're kind of a ceiling for everybody to keep in mind. The issue here, I think, as Judy's probably thinking about already, is even if you do that, if there's multiples, it could add up to more than 200.
Right.
I think what they've done to answer this is when it's a bigger project like this, I mean, typically consultants charge by the hour, but when it's a project, then they have a fixed amount. So they will say $50,000 for this project, and they kind of outline what they anticipate the project will include, what type of services they will be providing. So and that kind of helps figure out the budget and make it stay within the budget.
Are there any other procedural questions for Bybars or Emil? All right.
And the other thing, just to reiterate what you said, Jonathan, is that this selection and evaluation committee is able, since it's more administrative type of work at that point, like they can figure out these details. And from what I understand, it does not require the whole TRC to meet and all that. So they've been already tasked, they've been voted on, and so some of these details will be still figured out. But I mean, if the commission can decide on the big ticket items, the main questions, what goes in the request for proposals and whatnot, that's going to be essential to get us moving. Thank you.
All right. Should we take a break now? Take a 15-minute break. I'm going to fill out some language on the document I shared earlier. Jeff, do you want me to try to? I'll put this language in the chat, maybe just copy and
Oh,
paste it.
I grabbed the screenshot earlier, so I got it.
All right, cool. Thanks. So let's take 15 minutes. Let's meet back here about 11, 12 minutes after 3. And we'll try to dress up some language and move forward. So one more thing. Oh, same thing. I think Rick is going to pause the meeting, but it's still yet. Let's turn our mics off, cameras off, and avoid discussing commission business on the break. Thank you. All right, we're back from our break. This is the Tax Review Commission. So we are back to the agenda item where we're discussing some language and ideas for the for a request for proposal or solicitation for services. I had some time to add some language to the competitiveness topic. So if you don't mind, I want to share my screen again. We can have a look at that. Just a moment. All right. Hopefully y'all can see that now. And so I got the language I had before in the other section and moved that up to here. And then I added, added a list, non-exclusive list of incentives. I have the LAHTC Opportunity Zone incentives, Enterprise Zone incentives, and the Hawaii Film Credit. I remember that was what was listed. Is there anything else that was listed, that you listed, Jessica, that you wanted on the list for sure?
That was it. Thank you.
All right, cool. And then I added and others at the selection of the applicant. I think they'll I hope they would identify some others that they think are important to the overall prompt. So the primary language here is I wrote under the must include analysis of the cost and strategic value of select credits and incentives. And then I have that list, non-exclusive list, and then I list as well as subheading proposals to better deploy the identified cost to encourage economic growth. And then a framework, I still stick with this idea, I really like this, a framework for evaluating the economic growth value of existing and proposed credits and incentives. So this is something that came up, this might be a little too ambitious, I'm not sure, but this is something that came up a couple meetings ago. I think Mark said it. Is not just a once in time, here's our judgment of it, but a framework to have in place or to have available to kind of judge a credit, whether it's an existing one or a new one. So does any reaction to that in general, and also to this question, does analysis of the cost and strategic value of select credits and incentives, does that get our point across? Is that the kind of prompt we're looking for? Any reaction to that? So I just wrote that out just a few minutes ago, so I'm not you ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
No, I think this is good, Jonathan. You know, you could probably wordsmith here and there, but I think it captures it. My only other thought, maybe to be specific, you know, in the second bullet, you say empirically supported ways to support and encourage growth. I guess maybe to be specific, should they also empirically look at current things that discourage growth?
To answer your question, in my opinion, yes. So I'm gonna try to write that in. Thank you.
Maybe
This is
current and proposed ideas that may limit growth or will limit growth, something like that.
cool. Yeah, placeholder language, but I like it. I actually think this is pretty good. But okay. Any other reaction to that one?
The
right, cool.
proposed ideas might be a little hard to study. You know, like what's a proposed idea? I guess idea, but I'm assuming we mean like legislation or
Like
okay.
I mean, I have some ideas of what they could dream up as like things that are going on in other states, but I'm not going to say any of them.
No, that makes sense. If they're aware of other things elsewhere that are just crazy. Got it.
I'm going to put potential. So cool. All right. Any other thoughts on this one? For what it's worth, I think we're getting close on this one. Any objection or anybody think it's okay? And I said it before, I'll say it again. There's absolutely opportunity for wordsmithing, especially like from the evaluation committee. That's not just our evaluation after the things come in. Y'all can work with ByBars and the staff and dial this in and add some pros and add some sub bullet points and stuff. I think there's some flexibility to do that without violating what the commission's decided on. So I'm going to scroll down to the second part of this first what's called proposal 1, the tourism one. This could be a pretty narrow one, I think, and a pretty bite-sized one if somebody's got some, just studies tourism. Somebody anywhere here or on the mainland anywhere and just is like, yeah, we can do this one better than anybody else. But we haven't edited this one. So this is purely what I wrote over the last few days. And this is what I was thinking of when I heard the prompt, I think from Stacy, about the effect that the TAT has on visitor numbers. This is so total visitors. So basically just simple, like the price goes up, the demand goes down. But then the demand could go down, but the tax collections could actually go up. And that gives the commission, if that were the case, then that would give the commission the ability to have some input on what's valuable, more visitors or more TAT collections. Total spending by all visitors, that going up and down could be the most important thing, because all of that spending, because the GET is so broad, all of that spending is subject to GET. And then total spending per visitor to Hawaii, that's per visitor spending. So that is a measure of what they have left over after they pay for their hotel room in one way. And it's also can be a measure of something a little more sensitive, which is I call the Macau situation, where you have nothing but big spenders coming, or nothing but little spenders coming. For example, if you look at Macau versus Yosemite National Park, there's a difference. So I put that together just because I thought that covered the bases. So what am I missing on that, on like a tourism study? This is TAT, but I mean, something else if y'all think that's valuable. Mark, please.
I was wondering, Jonathan, when they passed the green fee legislation last year, was there testimony around some of this stuff?
I don't remember. I'd have to look. I have to dig up the bill number and hunt it. I'm sure. It just, I mean, just speculating. I'm sure that I get lost. I don't know the acronyms anymore, but the Hawaii Tourism offices, whatever they're called, I remember them testifying that the price, that the tax rate affects the price essentially. I mean, it's part of the price, and that affects the numbers. It's just a question of how empirical that is. If they did, but whether they did or not, I guess is it's out there. So now actually, yeah, they did the green fee last year, so this data might not be ready yet. There might not be enough to make these empirical analyses. Actually,
I just was wondering, you know, whether someone, whoever put together, structured the thing, and decided how much the green fee should be. I would have hoped they did some kind of analysis, like what the visitor impact is, and therefore they size the green fee accordingly. I don't know, but I just wonder whether some of the work was done by somebody in state government when the green fee was proposed.
I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah,
All right.
DBET must have studied it. Well, I'd hope
Yeah.
DBET studied it.
Since we're, I guess, on the topic of tax and tourism, is there a way to, is there a way for them to study, like, do tourists come and spend more, you know, in retail shopping because like the GT is lower? Or even like back to film, like I think DBA did have a study on film credit or on tourism, tourists coming because they've seen Hawaiian film. And so the impact of these other tax pieces, I guess, on tourism,
Mhm.
or we can isolate it to TAT at it, just,
No, I'm gonna write that down. Just the impacts of the other tax types.
yeah.
But I'm gonna write that down on my paper right now instead of typing it, because I want to leave open the question of, I mean, I am interested if there's been some study of the green fee. That was the latest increase, and that was a big increase. So, and what that means for us, like, does that mean we should continue with this, or does that mean we should consider, you know, dropping this if we think that the rest, you know, should we do some research before we put this out? I don't want to, Judy, please.
I just thought that besides the GT and TAT you guys mentioned, have we considered some tourism related employment? Because there are a lot of visitors, they come to Hawaii for work. For example, like traveling nurses, and that's like a big portion of the visitors. So have we thought about the income taxes actually from those employment? And also like a rental car taxes. So those also I think are related to the you know tourism.
Yeah, I'm writing that down, Judy, just a moment.
Mhm.
So I guess the GET spend by visitors in a simple way is meant to be that's why I have the line item total spending by all visitors into Hawaii and total spending per visitor to Hawaii, because all that's going to be subject to GET. But what I think Jessica might be saying is there an effect because the GE is a low nominal rate? Is that like that people come here and spend their money because just so many prices. We know this, and like there are certain things that are more expensive out here, but some things are just not. And then like if you go to a national chain, the price is the same nationwide.
Yeah, more so for that kind of stuff where the
But it's
price
like-
is flat, but the tax here is lower.
Yeah, marginally lower tax, like 7% versus 4.712.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
like shopping in Vegas versus getting the same thing here.
Yeah, it is a difference. Yeah, it's a noticeable difference in rate.
Yeah.
All right, I'll think about a way to add that in.
I don't know that there's a way to figure it out, but
Yeah, I'm thinking about that, but I'm also thinking about I just don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to make. I'm just thinking about what Mark said. I don't know if we have time to figure that out to make sure we're not asking a vendor to just retread what was unsuccessfully testified at the, in
Right.
previous sessions. So I guess what I would say to that is, on the one hand, I mean, maybe we should move forward because the vendor will have a more global outlook, than more holistic outlook than the tourism authority might. We'd have to look at their testimony though and see what they're looking at. If they're looking at pure visitor numbers, if they're looking at total spend, and these other metrics, they might only be looking at one of the metrics. I want to add to possibly help this identification of other. Straight up ask the vendor what I just asked y'all if y'all had any ideas for other metrics. See if the vendor can identify any other metrics for measuring the cost benefit of taxes that affects tourists primarily, like the TAT. That might make it a little bit more robust. All right. So all right. What do y'all think about this one? Should we move forward with this one? Or is it worth it to put it off to see if to make sure we're not retreading old ground? Is there any strong position? All right. So, well, I want to move forward with this one. Please, I got to see two people not muted. I wasn't paying attention.
It's super important. Tourism's our industry. So I agree. I think it'd be worth like just maybe if the vendor, even if they're kind of retreading what everyone's on, if they're able to get the information and put it into a single report in one place, has some value to it also. And hopefully if they know what they're doing, their bid will reflect they don't have to do a deep analysis or anything. So I think it'd be interesting to see. But it is a little early, I guess, because the fee's only been in place for a little while. But our transient accommodation tax keeps growing, so it'll be interesting to see if they can note any effects from the previous growth, because I think it jumped a few times previously, pretty big. But DBET probably, I would assume DBET did some studies on it, but I think it'd be interesting to see what their consultant says. Thanks.
Mark.
The only other question is, would you want them to look at the original purpose of TAT, which was dedicated, a lot of it was dedicated to marketing, which I think the theory would result in more spending, more tourists and more spending. And obviously a lot of that's gone away and now it goes straight into the general fund. Do you want them to look at that part as well? It's a question.
I wasn't aware of that history. What do y'all think? Do y'all want that context as part of it?
And
Yeah, please.
And I think, like, to what Mark said, it's morphed over the years too, right? Before, the ledge used to give a percentage, or like they used to dictate how much went to each county. And now I think the counties have a surcharge on it, which kind of increased the overall GET also.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a comment. I can look at it a little bit. I think in the past, there were some retired professors from UH who were doing research in tourism and economics. And I remember seeing some work, I think, but I need to look. And to me, this is sounding like a whole topic in and of itself. But again, the details will have to be figured out. But I can maybe help with looking back what has been looked at already, and I guess to give more background, more context, if that might help with the discussion, ongoing discussion.
I think that would be helpful, Baybars.
All right. I just added some placeholders that you'll see on the screen. What I'm hearing is the way forward might be to clean up this language, add the context of the original intent and how that's morphed and changed as far as the use of the money. And maybe since we're putting off the other one, the housing one, maybe we put off this one as well. And if there's a volunteer to have a look to hunt that bill number and find the testimony, I don't know if that's something Baybars wants to do or if one of us wants to do that, and see how empirical the analysis was for the green fee and for the TAT the county TAT surcharge as well, and see, just to make sure we're not retreading old ground. And I think that leaves us with one that we can agree on today, the competitiveness one, which I think we've developed pretty well. And that keeps us from making a mistake today or ramming something forward today, mistake or not. Any objection to that? All right. So again, is as far as wordsmithing and stuff like that goes, there's ample opportunity for that, without kind of, violating the intent of the rest of the commission. For the evaluation committee, y'all can work on this one. I'm going to scroll back up so you can see it. Our pride and joy here. So I think that we are about we need to talk about scheduling the next meeting and stuff like that. So is there any, and we've kind of we've decided to table the other two. And so I think we can, unless there's more to add to this one, I think we can move on, kind of like discuss this one, or discuss the next steps for this one. And then we'll come back next time. So anything else? Do we want to, we can dwell on this one a little bit more, and anything else you want to add to that one? And then we can, I think to be safe, we can vote on moving forward on this one in a few minutes. And then it'll be turned over to the evaluation committee. And there's nothing wrong with having multiples, especially like this sets us up to have 3 multiples, like so 3 separate ones. And then we can put a prompt at the bottom to kind of maybe identify. I don't know if this is possible. It's a question for Bybars. I might ask Bybars and they know this, but like if we can identify the others and invite, multiple bids if they want to combine 2 or something like that. So
Right. We have to research that. So we'll get back to you on that one. Emil will reach out to State Procurement Office.
Yeah, there's plenty of time because the other 2 have been put off. So that's my filibuster. Is there any other comment on this one, or are we pretty happy with it? All right, excellent. Well, so I want to move to the next agenda item then. I'm going to share this with Bybars, and then we'll, there'll be I'm not sure how this is going to get sent out, or I think the evaluation committee is pretty free to communicate amongst themselves, so it should be easy. But this will go to them. So the next meeting and the next agenda. So here's what I'm thinking, and I threw a curveball at y'all last time, and I'm going to do it again today. With the 2-week meeting thing last time. So I'm nervous about when the evaluation committee gets started, unless they, especially if they get started right away, that we're going to get tripped up with something, and it's going to be like, okay, the commission has to vote on that, or something like that. And it's a 6-day notice for a meeting. So what I want to do is I want to schedule 2 meetings today. One is going to be out later in April. It's going to be essentially what would have been our April 15th or April 16th or April 17th meeting. That's not going to be that week because of the tax due date. It's going to be the 21st, 22nd, 28th, something like that. We'll talk about that. That's sort of normal. The curveball is that I want to schedule a meeting for April 8th. That's next week. And that's the minimum notice time if we get the notice out tomorrow. I've already drafted the notice in case we agree on it. So the idea here is, in case there's some odds and ends that come up with this, something that the commission needs to vote on, we've got a notice and we've got a meeting ready. We can meet on the 8th and we can vote on that. So the agenda will look like the agenda looked today. It'll have discussion of the topics for the RFP or proposal, and it'll have procedure for the RFP and the proposal.
Jonathan, you got cut off. We cannot hear you.
I hear you.
Jonathan, we cannot hear you.
You probably can't hear us either.
Oh, let's. Try it again, Jonathan.
All right, say something.
Okay, yes.
All right, I'm
Now,
back.
now we can hear you, yes.
So I don't know what y'all heard and what y'all didn't hear.
Didn't hear anything.
Didn't hear anything about my.
April 8th. We ended on April 8th. The agenda will look very similar.
Oh man, you ended on a big cliffhanger. So
Yeah.
I was talking about my anxiety about getting tripped up with some odds and ends, procedural odds and ends, and having to have a vote or something. So what I want to do is schedule 2 meetings. The meeting's going to be on April 8th. We only need, if it's going to be some sort of, if we have anything, it's going to be, like I said, odds and ends kind of thing. So we would only need 4 people there. So this is not one where it's like, let's, get our, make sure we all can be there. And then if there's nothing to do, we'll launch the meeting, take a roll, public comment, and then close the meeting. But I just don't want a situation where like something comes up on the 5th or something like that, and it's like 6 days from there. I'm getting really, I'm worried about burning that 6 days of time. So am I crazy, or does that sound over the top? Or yes.
So the review committee is gonna start today and have that's our hope. Okay.
No, I'm nodding because that's the other question, is that this might be completely absurd, because what I'm saying, because it might not be that things are going to get rolling that quick anyway, but by April 8th. So for there to be issues by April 8th. But if we don't do anything, the next meeting is going to be like the 21st or the 22nd or the 27th or 8th or something like that. So that's the downside to waiting. We could also do it like April 15th, and that would save us a few days. And give the evaluation committee a little more time. Or I mean, if y'all are more if y'all are comfortable with the timing, we could just get the meeting for April 21st, 28th, and move and do that. So I think. Go ahead, Jeff.
I can be available either
All
way.
right.
I'll make myself available.
Yeah, it's just really difficult for me from now to April 15.
Understood. I fully understood. I'm sure the same's for Jessica. So
Is it just to make a vote? It would just be.
That's the thing.
Just
I mean,
in case, so if nothing comes up, then there's no meeting.
There'd be no meeting. And if but what I might be hearing is that it's just not practicable to get started that quickly anyway. I mean, that basically means the evaluation committee will be going like tomorrow and the next day, and to identify some issue that we have to vote on. And I can't identify those issues now, or if I could, we'd vote on them now. But I think I've talked myself out of it, unless there's any objection. Maybe I think I'm going overboard here. All right, so let's schedule one meeting. I've talked myself out of it. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I should have done that a while back. Here we go. Someday after April 15th for the next meeting. So I think the natural date would have been Tuesday, April 14th. That would have been a Tuesday, and that'd be 2 p.m. That'd be sort of the natural date. So there's April 21st and there's April 28th, and there's the other days of those weeks as well.
Can do 16 or 17. I think just after the 15th, but 16 or 17 like works. It doesn't have to be like the following, Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever.
All right, let's see.
You're not gonna hibernate for the rest of the week?
I might, but pop my head out of the blanket for.
Jessica, you don't need a break, right?
I normally don't work on the 16th, but I take it on the 16th instead of the 14th. I'll tell you that.
All right. Well, I can't do the 16th or the 17th.
Oh,
I got
okay.
something going.
Yeah. 21, 22 is fine. Either day is fine with me.
Okay. I can do either of those days.
So the week of the 20th is bad for me. The week of 27th, I'm wide open.
Okay. I'm agnostic on those 2 weeks. So I guess I got a thumbs up from Jeff. Mark, yeah.
Of course, I can. I can do the week of the 21st, but not the last week. The week of the 7th or whatever.
Okay. Let's see. Let me give me a moment. I want to check my thing on the 16th.
That's not good for me either.
Oh, okay. Well, that's 2 of us then.
Eh.
So got a conflict for the week of the 20th and the work of the 27th.
Mark, are you okay on the 20th? I think you mentioned from the 21st.
Yeah.
Is the 20th okay? The
Yeah,
Monday?
20th is fine.
Okay.
Can people do the 20th?
Yeah, 20th is fine with me.
It's 2 o'clock.
That's a Monday at 2.
It's a Monday at 2.
20 is bad for me, but I mean, if it works for everyone, I might not be able to attend that one.
Understood. This is unlike me, but I mean, is it? Because I'm the one freaking out about the time, but is May 4th, 5th, 6th, is that week too late? We don't have any statutory requirement to have a meeting every month. That's putting it off, but
Well, we hit April today, right?
yeah, we hit April today. So even if we did, good point. Okay. Well, I guess the question is, would the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th, like the week of the 4th, would we be able to get everybody on the week of the 4th?
Yeah, I'm okay on the 4th, the week of 4th.
I'm okay that week. But yeah, it does sound kind of far out with the RFP being have to like sit out for 30 days, and then if there's any edits, and then we have 2 kind of being tabled for discussion that day. So if we do go out to the 4th, then I mean, do you want to leave your 8th or 9th or 8th, whatever meeting, just so at least we can get one moving? I mean, because that's kind of just 4 people needed, right? Can 4 people make it that day?
Well, yeah, but that's true. And I feel you, but I guess that I
Oh,
want
but that
more than
also
4.
depends if Mark and Judy, Judith
That's
here. Actually, yeah, and I know Judith is busy with 415, so that might be kind of hard.
yeah. The 8th is for what you're talking about. That's like a substantive meeting on the 8th. So I need everybody there for that because we're going to be making a final decision on those other 2 topics. So I'm nervous about dropping that short of a notice meeting on y'all, unless y'all can all make it on the 8th.
Oh, yeah, okay, no. I thought it was just to in case anything came up that would stall the
Yeah, I mean there's that, but I've talked myself into like I think that time frame is too short term for even to identify trip ups. Jeff, what were you gonna say?
So the next meeting after the 15th, our plan is to, I guess, by then, our hope is the evaluation committee will have looked at, did we vote on number 1 yet? Sorry, I'm not even sure if we did that.
No, we didn't.
but
vote
they
on it.
would have looked at number one and hopefully they bless it and we move it forward. And that next substantive meeting, we'd be going over TAT and tourism, right? I'm sorry,
Um,
TAT and
Uh,
affordable housing.
Yeah, but let me make sure we're on the same page. What I'm thinking
Yeah.
is today we are going to vote on number one today.
Right.
And what that means is that the evaluation committee can do everything that they need to do.
Right.
So we don't
Right,
need to
and-
revisit that one.
But we could use, if we meet on the, oh, sorry for interrupting. We could use the 20th because it's close enough in a sense. If the evaluation team runs into a hiccup by having it earlier, sorry, John, to be disrespectful of your, I know you might not be able to make it, but I'm just wondering if the 20th would probably be better in case the evaluation team does have a hiccup. At least it would only be delayed until the 20th,
Mhm.
in theory.
And that's long enough that we I mean, even if John's not there, I guess
Yeah.
maybe we could discuss the other things and make
Yeah.
some progress. So, I like that. 20th?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
20 is
Okay.
good.
I got another favor to ask y'all. I'm sorry. I'm going to be in Eastern time at that time, and I've got something at night. So if we can do 2:30 Hawaii time, that puts me at 8:30 Eastern time, and that makes it a lot easier for me to get my appointment that I have Monday night sorted and then join y'all.
Yeah, 2:30 is fine.
2:30 instead of 2. Okay. 2:30 Hawaii time instead of 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so April 20, 2:30 Hawaii time. And the agenda will be, it'll look a lot like today's agenda. Or it'll be a little bit more specific on discussing those two, the tourism one and the other one, those two. Address any issues and that come up, and then hear any report from the evaluation committee that they have. And then we'll schedule a meeting sometime after that. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Sorry, John. You might miss one.
problem.
Okay. Bye, Bart. You got that? We just went
Yeah,
all
it
around the calendar.
it
for
should
you.
be good. And then I'll hopefully have some materials to help the discussion for TAT and tourism and research and past TRC work related to that.
All right, cool. Yeah, Jeff.
Oh, sorry. Judith?
Oh, I was just going to ask about do we have to meet for the evaluation team? Do we have to do anything before the April 20, or is everything can be done by emails?
I think email is fine.
Okay.
Chair, if I have that language for the affordable housing, my thoughts or ideas, should I get that over to Bivars and then that'll be posted with the agenda, or what's the idea on that?
Question. What do you think, Bye, Boss?
Sure, it's up to the commission. So if they want to have it as an agenda item, we sure can.
So, I'm just not sure if we need to post it. It's going to be out of place because the rest of them have not been posted. They were just like,
Okay, I can just share a screen. Yeah, I will do. I'll just hold on to it when I do it.
Unless I hear that it's illegal or something, I think it is good to share it with Bars because he's going to be doing some research back in. That way he can see what you've got.
Yeah. And
know,
he's not a commissioner, so I can share anything I want with him.
I think
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All
Yeah.
right. And then so it won't be posted, but it'll share it with Bars and we'll discuss it next time. Cool. Thanks, Jeff.
Just for the record too, Chair, sorry, SB 1396 2025 was that greenfield green fee bill. I tossed it into the chat, but figure just should put on the record. Thank you,
Cool.
Chair.
Got one more, Jonathan, please. We got one more thing we got to do. I almost messed this up. We got to vote on number 1. So we got a competitiveness prompt for a solicitor out there. I think we've discussed it quite a bit. Is there any more discussion on that? Okay, so I'm asking for a motion to approve that as a prompt for to be included in a solicitation for proposals or RFP, whatever is determined on that, and to give the evaluation committee some flexibility to wordsmith that how they see fit and move forward.
So moved, Chair.
Got one right there. Need one more.
A second.
Cool, thanks. All right, any discussion? All right, let's vote on that. All in favor of moving this one forward? This is number 1, the competitiveness, raise hand. All right, that's everybody. Anybody opposed? Raise hand. All right, cool. So that passed. So we got one move forward. Thanks so much. I'm really happy with it. And I think it's, I like that we're getting one out today. I really appreciate y'all's work on this. This has been a hard couple meetings, but we're getting it done. I'll see y'all on the 20th. This meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, Jonathan. You did the hard work, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, Papers, can you take the time of adjournment?
Sorry.
Yes, 3:58 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Cynthia. Thanks, bye.
No problem. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.